All right, Chris, Washington versus Texas for all the marbles here and a chance for the championship game. Chris, talk to me a little bit about Washington.
Washington. I'll tell you what a job by Coach of the Year, Caleb DeBoer this year. They've, there was a guy on this show, and I believe it was you that took them to win the Pac-12, and they did that this year. I was high on Oregon. Washington beat them twice. So kudos to Washington this year. Very good football team. The first half of the season, I think a lot of people would agree, man, they were, we talked about them on here too, man, they might be the best team in the country. Second half of the season, a little different story after the win against Oregon the first time, right? They didn't show up in some of those games, some close games than most people would have expected, but nonetheless, they won. They've won a lot of close games this year. And Michael Penix, man, what a year he had. I think a lot of people were a little upset that he probably didn't win the Heisman. We're not going to get into that right now. I do think Penix had a crazy good year, though. Some of those receivers for Washington have been really good. The run game. Washington's defense at times has been a little suspect. It's going to have to be great in this one. Texas, we know what they can do offensively with all the weapons they have. I mean, you could argue Texas has the best offense in the country if you wanted to. They're that elite this year. This game is interesting in both ways, and I'll let you touch on Texas here in a second. But this game I think is going to be high scoring, Christian. I think you would probably agree. And with Washington in this one, I think the big thing is going to come down to turnovers. If Michael Penix doesn't turn the ball over, and can they contain Quinn Ewers in this one, just a hair? That's what I think. Texas has been on fire this year as well. So these two teams are about as hot as it gets, and this should be a crazy good football game. Christian, you're going to tell me about the Texas Longhorns. Go ahead and enlighten me, sir.
Yeah, Chris. I mean, look, Texas under Steve Sarkisian this year. I mean, they did a hell of a job. 12-1. Only hiccup in the year was the Oklahoma game. Still a hell of a game to watch. I felt like that Red River rivalry. It always is. Other than that, I mean, they beat Bama. Another playoff team here, and then they demolished Oklahoma State. I mean, in the last game they played. I mean, it was not even remotely close. Quinn Ewers, I think, when he played, he looked good at times this year. They did a really good job there. Jonathan Brooks. Now, this is going to be interesting. He's banged up. He's done for the year. He was their kind of their bell cow of a running back there. Here's the thing. They're going to replace him. You know what I mean? They've got really good running backs there to kind of lean on outside of him. Xavier Worthy, A.D. Mitchell. Their passing game is really where this team starts and wants to play this game against Washington at. The big question to me is going to be defense, Chris. The defensive side of things is where things get a little bit kind of mucked up with Texas, right? And Washington. Again, they're not terrible on the defensive side of the ball, either one of these teams. They're just not that same elite level that we're seeing from Alabama and or a Michigan, if you will. Yep. So it's different styles with it. I really like I said, I like Texas. I'm glad they were able to kind of get over the hump this year. I'll give you my predictions with it, Chris. Give me Washington 35, Texas 28. The reason why I'm leaning more Washington in this game is, like you said, it's going to be a high-scoring affair, I have a feeling, is neither one of these teams really have playoff experience, right? Washington doesn't, neither does Texas in this new era. So when you think about that, it's anybody's game, really. It's a roll of the dice. The other side of it is I think Washington had a harder road to get here. They beat one of the most complete teams, in my opinion, in Oregon, in their conference championship game to get here. They beat them twice, actually, this year. So on a neutral field and at home. So Washington, to me, has two really good wins. Texas has a good win, again, obviously, over Bama. But, yeah, it's kind of at this point of the year, it's anybody's guess. Tell me what your thoughts are.
Man, I tell you what, I thought we were going to be different on this one because I'm taking the underdog as well in this one. I have Washington 35, Texas 33. Super close, high-scoring game. And how I break these down, I don't think you could say who's the better coach. Steve Sarkisian's done a hell of a job. He actually used to coach at Washington, by the way. So I don't give an edge to either one of these coaches. I think they're about the same. They're both very good. The quarterback play, Quinn Ewers is a damn good quarterback too, so is Michael Penix. I think this one is a coin flip. I really do. The reason why I'm taking Washington is because I bet against Washington 3 times this year. I was wrong all 3 times. They're going to go out there and win. So give me Washington 35, Texas 33. Let's go Huskies.